Good morning, and thank you all for coming. Fortunately, Bermuda was spared any severe impact from Tropical Storm Gabrielle last night. Our reports indicate that there was only minor power outages and only a few trees have fallen, and people and property are safe. The Norwegian Dawn, which was unable to leave Bermuda yesterday ahead of the storm, was tied up with extra precaution and encountered no issues through the night and is leaving sometime today. This storm developed very close to us, developed very quickly, and somewhat unexpectedly. The storm encountered ideal conditions for strengthening not far from Bermuda, and so as soon as we could yesterday morning, we alerted residents that a tropical storm warning was in effect for the island. We are grateful to Digicel and Cell One for the text message facility which they provided, and yesterday's message was sent out at our request and met our satisfaction. As the companies have indicated to us, sending a text message to 20,000 subscribers is just a little bit different than texting your BFFs. This service takes about 90 minutes or slightly longer to completely deliver to the subscriber, and it is not uncommon that it will take some time to get out. Now, please allow me the opportunity to address the issue to close schools, which was communicated last evening in time for the 7 o'clock news cycle. The main concern of the EMO and the government of Bermuda in any storm is the safety of our people. Our children catch buses, take ferries, walk, or are dropped off by parents at guardians and the guardians at school. And yesterday's weather information indicated that Gabrielle was moving slower, getting stronger, and likely to bring hurricane-force gusts to the island. With the forecast of that, there were 7 inches of rain. Couple that with the recent heavy growth of trees, we could not be sure that the storm's winds would allow buses to run as scheduled and for our roads to be safe for motorists to pass early this morning. The decision to close the schools was not premature, but was prudent based on the information we had at the time and out of concern for the safety of the most vulnerable in our community, our children. In addition to the reports from members of the EMO that we received through the night and early this morning, several of us personally went out between 5 and 6 a.m., Minister Brangman and myself were out there as well, this morning to see how the island fared. Once it was clear that our children could safely get to school, we made the decision to open so that we could turn a potential lost day into a day of learning. I apologize for any inconvenience this could have caused, but please know that our sole motivation was based on the safety of our children. It is always better to be safe than sorry. The tropical storm warning has been lifted as of 9 a.m. this morning, but a small craft warning stays in effect. 1 or 2 schools have had electricity issues, and Belco has worked to restore power. TNT Tatum and Delwood are closed due to water issues, but should open tomorrow. Their parents are being notified to come collect the children. The St. George's ferry service is canceled for today, but we expect it to resume a normal schedule tomorrow. If Fabian taught us one thing, it is that there is no substitute for safety. We chose to err on the side of caution, and sometimes this will mean an inconvenience to our usual schedules. I prefer complaints about the inconvenience of this decision than to be confronting a family whose child was injured or even worse. I would like to thank you all for your understanding during this tropical storm period, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the members of the EMO, the members of the Bermuda Weather Service who were up all night providing timely information updates, to the members of the civil service who worked diligently through the night, and most importantly, to you, the public, for your understanding, and because of that, we made it safely through a storm. I'm happy to take any questions.
Just, where do we want to start? We'll start with Carl. I know you had a few questions to kick it off with.
Minister, since the decision was taken this morning to reopen school, why couldn't the decision just have been taken, period, this morning? Say if it went the other way to close school, why not just take the decision this morning?
That's a very good question, Carla. Simply put, last night, when we were looking at the weather information, we had an EMO meeting at 3 o'clock. We got the latest update just after 6 o'clock. We were going to base our decision-making process on the 6 o'clock forecast. The 6 o'clock forecast showed the potential for unpredictability of the storm, and it showed that there could be a potential for strengthening through the night. Based on the fact that the storm would pass us through the night, if we were to make the decision through the night to close the schools, it would be very difficult to get the information out there to the public. And if the storm intensified in any way, we could have had our young people on the streets trying to catch buses in a very uncomfortable period in the aftermath of a storm. So we decided to err on the side of caution. We closed schools earlier. You note that teachers were asked to still come in. That was in the back of our mind that if we decided to open schools again, we would already have the teachers notified that they could be there. If we decided we had to send them home because of conditions weren't going to be conducive to even getting to school, the Department of Education knew that they could notify their teachers not to come out today. So it was two decisions to make. Either decision can have some criticism going both ways, but we feel very comfortable with the decision we made, and everybody's safe.
And that was the other question, because a lot of parents, teachers have complained this morning saying, between last night and this morning, if schools are closed, why do we have to come? And particularly in light that some of them were parents too.
I think I answered that question, and we appreciate their understanding. And one of the things that I've always appreciated as a politician is the ability of freedom of speech in Bermuda, because I think communication helps us. So I appreciate the feedback, good, bad, and indifferent.
You said that the decision was prudent, not premature. In hindsight, moving forward, can you say that perhaps next time you will put people on standby until the actual morning to avoid the confusion?
No, because hindsight is 20/20, and I'm 55 and I'm starting to lose some sight. But if you put people on standby, Celia, I think what people need to understand is we found with Hurricane Emily in '87 that they're very unpredictable. I remember waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and sensing the blow outside and checked it out. And when we looked for a weather report, there were no reports of anything until 6 o'clock, and we had no notice to get ready. As the Minister of Public Safety and the Chairman of the EMO, I do not want to put anybody's lives at risk or the safety of our young people at risk. And so the decision was prudent and the best decision to make, because if we had put people on notice, if our communication systems in any way had started to break down, we couldn't have got the notice out to them.
So as Public Safety Minister attached to the EMO with hurricane season, nowhere near over. Your hopes for the rest of the season if you have near misses or none at all?
Of course. And we're close to the end of the season in time, but typically, and I would warn Bermudians and our residents here, just because we got lucky with this storm and it's been a quiet season. The first hurricane, I think, Humberto just formed this morning, many, many miles from us. And at this point, it does not appear to impact us, but that could change. Anything can happen in hurricane season. And typically, our crunch is from September right through to the middle of October. So we're going to hope for the best. But as I think the people of Bermuda were aware from yesterday and today, the EMO is going to be ready and be prepared.
And just finally, you mentioned the Norwegian Dawn. I believe the breakaway comes in early Wednesdays. Does she still come in, or is she skipping this week? Or
I haven't got an update of when it's going to arrive, but as of last night, it was still going to come, yes.
Right, okay. Thank you, members of the media, for your cooperation.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
you can email this before you take your